Sonic Addictive's first EP brings an interesting approach to melodic rock with a strong electronic component. The approach itself of mixing rock with electronic arrangements is not new. However, what is refreshing here is the way in which this mixture ends up sounding much more nostalgic than expected, something that can even be felt in the dispensable 16-bit version of My Winter Storm. Interesting presentation, but we still need convincing.
A peculiar title for a power metal band that doesn't follow all the rules of the style to the letter. I'd venture to say that what they're presenting is really a new direction for the style, which, regardless of the results it achieves in terms of popularity, is still interesting. Mainly because their songs have melodic dynamics that appeal to a more general audience than those who usually consume power metal. Fans of the style may turn their noses up at this, but there's no denying that their music is simply fantastic and the results are thrilling. Successive listens will tell you that.
Without any great expectations, coming out was a nice surprise. The promotional copy we had access to was presented to us as the English version, so we don't know the Polish version, the mother tongue of Łukasz Ikonrez Sarnacki, responsible for everything we can hear here. Łukasz is a well-known name on the Polish scene for his collaborations with the likes of Herm and Christ Agony, among many others. Bilingual releases don't always work. We have as an example the experiments in this direction that Rados de Pareo made in the second half of the 1980s, but in this case, from what we've heard of coming out, there may be some strangeness, but that feeling soon passes. Bass is black metal, no doubt about it, but it never fully dives into the style. A freer approach that could suggest progressive paths, but also lead to deception, according to some of the labels we've seen associated with the project. Folk, on the other hand, or the pagan side, turns out to be the most omnipresent identity and one that makes perfect sense. A good comparison is if we think of Up with strong inspirations in Primordial and enough quality to have its own identity. Fantastic first album.
There are musical styles that end up having as much influence as band names. A perfect example is Time Held Me Grey and Dying, an album we were curious about even though it represented the debut of the British band Ofnus. And that curiosity was rewarded because this album has a dimension that we didn't expect at the time. Even if the label atmospheric black metal might prepare us somewhat for what we're about to encounter. However, the genius of this album is the way it manages to take the aforementioned style and endow it with unexpected drama and emotional impact. An epic element that is present in every track and makes this one of 2023's great vices.
Exit are already veterans, having started their career in 1995, with a career that has been solidified by good albums and also good concerts. After the album Human Existence in 2020, the band's next release is an EP recorded live at home studio that presents their powerful thrash/death metal in a refreshing way. Raw but with a certain finesse, a refinement that is not very common to the style. This is the first EP of two. So far so good.
5 years on, here's the sixth album from Vendetta, one of the good names in Teutonic thrash metal. Black as Coal brings together a series of inspired songs that can easily captivate fans, although it may offer one difficulty or another. The one we encountered was the length of the album, almost an hour, which can make Mario Vogel's voice tiring although appropriate, but which just doesn't manage to offer much in the way of dynamics over the course of an hour. Still, there's nothing to detract from the metallic power of this album, which is still one of their strongest releases and a good return after a considerable absence from records.
At first glance, this band or project could be overlooked. It's not that I don't appreciate electronic sounds in a gothic context, but the truth is that there is little in this genre that can surprise me on the positive side. Or at least that was the opinion I had before venturing into Tales from Another Life, an album that manages to capture the attention of anyone who likes good melodies, a good voice, and good, well-constructed songs. It's all based on keyboards and synthesized elements, but it still manages to captivate those who like melancholic and slightly gloomy atmospheres, although it also manages to convey a lot of hope and light. Tales from Another Life is an album that will please those who like gothic metal without any difficulty. A nice surprise.
After the success of Fabio Brizzi's composer's cut of The Beyond, and the COVID meddling in between, the composer decided to do the same for another classic from his partnership with filmmaker Fabio Brizzi. Zombie is a horror movie classic and its soundtrack unforgettable. What he presents here is not a simple re-recording, it's a whole reinterpretation that takes the music that was originally recorded to an even higher level. For fans of his and Goblin's music, or simply fans of progressive rock and soundtracks, this is a must-have record.
The second album by these Russians who mix black and doom metal like no one else. The band is listed in Metal Archives as depressive black metal, and although that makes some sense, the label of melodic black/doom metal gives us a better indication of their sound. Somewhere between Woods of Desolation and Forgotten Tomb, and where the voice carries the black metal gene, but everything else is more doom metal than anything else. Good songs, without too much exaggeration, either dramatic or even in the length of the songs, and an album that fans of the genre will appreciate. The second album by these Russians who mix black and doom metal like no one else. The band is listed in Metal Archives as depressive black metal, and although that makes some sense, the label of melodic black/doom metal gives us a better indication of their sound. Somewhere between Woods of Desolation and Forgotten Tomb, and where the voice carries the black metal gene, but everything else is more doom metal than anything else. Good songs, without too much exaggeration, either dramatic or even in the length of the songs, and an album that fans of the genre will appreciate.